Greetings and a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you very much indeed for joining Global Peace Studies for Sustainable Development in Africa, where we discuss pertinent issues of peace and sustainability around the world and across Africa. I'm George Mutalemwa, moderating this session on behalf of the Africa Peace and Development Network, MAMA. Our theme today is Balancing Growth and Justice, the Islamic economic paradigm for peace. The speaker is Baba Yunus Muhammad. Baba Muhammad is a distinguished scholar and an internationally recognized thought leader, renowned for his expertise in journalism, education, strategic intelligence, and the halal economy. He is the president of the Africa Islamic Economic Forum, AFRIEF. It's a pleasure having you, Baba Muhammad. Thank you for joining us again. We are looking forward to your talk, and I would like to thank everybody on this call. So please do join me in welcoming Baba Yunus Muhammad. Baba Muhammad, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Doc. I don't know why this thing is still I want to even ensure that, all my systems are off. But I think it's better now.
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. It's all right. So it's my pleasure meeting you once again. Even though I'm sorry you have extended some invitations to me in the past, I couldn't make it, but I've been traveling and with so many challenges also here. So, but at least I'm happy being with you this afternoon. My presentation is going to be on the Islamic paradigm of peace. We have to balance growth and justice. So my talk is just going to be about that, inshallah. So this paper examines how the Islamic economic paradigm, rooted in ethical, legal, and spiritual principles, offers a viable framework for achieving social justice, inclusive development, and sustainable peace in Africa. It critiques prevailing economic ideologies, especially contemporary capitalism and state-centric socialism, for their structural limitations and moral deficits. It then elaborates the Islamic economic model and its core concepts, like Mizan, I'm talking about the divine balance, Adl, justice, Amana, stewardship, Zakat and Waqf, and profit and loss sharing finance. Drawing on classical Islamic thought and modern empirical evidence, the analysis demonstrates that Islamic social finance functions not merely as charity, but as a systemic program of wealth circulation, social protection, market ethics, and moral governance. Recent African evidence, particularly from Nigeria, Senegal, and Kenya, shows that Islamic finance contributes to poverty reduction, SME growth, infrastructure expansion, and community welfare. The paper concludes with policy recommendations for institutionalizing Islamic economic tools within African governance and development strategies, emphasizing legal reform, political accountability, and spiritual ethical renewal. Today, Africa stands at a crossroads, blessed with abundant natural resources, youthful populations, rich cultural heritage, and growing human capital. The continent, nonetheless, continues to struggle with persistent inequality, poverty, and social instability. Economic growth and development remain elusive for many, even where GDP rises. This persistent paradox, growth without justice, development without peace, suggests that technical fixes alone will not suffice. What is lacking is a moral vision and institutional architecture that link prosperity with fairness, dignity, and collective welfare. The paradigm of Islamic economics offers such a vision. The Quran declares, "And the heaven he raised and established the balance, that you may not transgress in the balance." This can be found in the Holy Quran, chapter 55, verses 7 to 9. I will share the paper with the organizer so that it can be distributed, it can be shared with participants. This notion of Mizan, I'm talking about the divine balance, provides a normative foundation, while classical Islamic jurisprudence and contemporary scholarship together articulate a comprehensive system that fuses spiritual ethics and economic policy. This paper argues that adopting this paradigm, not as dogmatic imposition, but as a complementary moral economic framework, can help steer Africa towards inclusive growth, social justice, and lasting peace. So, the crisis of modern economics. So let's start with capitalism. Efficiency with growth, growing inequality. Modern capitalism, as practiced globally, has driven unprecedented technological progress, productivity gains, and economic output. Yet, these gains are often accompanied by widening inequality, wealth concentration, and social stratification. Research demonstrates that unregulated capital accumulation tends to concentrate wealth among a narrow elite, while large segments of society remain marginalized. Moreover, capitalism frequently treats economics as value net neutral. Efficiency and profit are prioritized over ethical considerations. As a result, economic sources may coexist with social disintegration, exploitation, and environmental degradation. Let's talk about socialism. The socialist and state-centric models, the equalization at the cost of initiative. Socialist-inspired or state-centric economic models aimed at equality and welfare have in some contexts delivered basic services and redistribution. However, they often suffer from inefficiency, lack of innovation, bureaucratic inertia, and disincentives for individual enterprise and moral agency. Over time, such systems can stagnate, failing to properly motivate productivity or encourage private initiative. Both systems, when divorced from moral foundation, risk producing societies that are either materially rich but spiritually hollow, or socially egalitarian but economically stagnant. The moral deficit, economic detached from ethics. At the root of this crisis is a moral deficit. Modern economic systems often treat wealth, finance, and growth as ends in themselves, divorced from broader questions of justice, human dignity, and social welfare. The result is economies that produce numbers, GDP, for example, profit and growth, but not necessarily well-being, social cohesion, or sustainable peace. This moral deficit is particularly dangerous in Africa, where weak governance, corruption, and uneven distribution intensify vulnerabilities. The challenge calls for an economic paradigm that places ethics, accountability, and social justice at its core. So now let's talk about the Islamic economic paradigm. We have discussed briefly about capitalism and socialism. Islamic economics is not merely a set of financial prohibitions or banking rules. It is a holistic system that integrates theology, ethics, law, and social welfare into economic life. The paradigm is built on 4 foundational pillars: ethical foundations, wealth circulation and redistribution, risk-sharing finance, and governance and accountability. In Islamic thought, human beings are both servants of God and Halifadan and stewards on earth. Wealth is not absolute property. It is a manner, it is a trust granted by God to be used responsibly. Economic activity becomes a form of worship when done with integrity, justice, and social awareness. Scholars argue that this orientation reframes economic behavior. Profit is permissible and encouraged, but only as long as it is pursued with honesty, transparency, and social responsibility. Undeserved gains, such as those from exploitation, gambling, or interest, are prohibited because they violate the moral dignity of individuals and society. This moral This moral foundation counters the value-neutral assumption pervasive in modern economics. It insists that ends and means are inseparable. How wealth is acquired, managed, and distributed matters as much as wealth itself. One of the hallmark features of the Islamic economic system is institutionalized redistribution through mechanisms such as zakah, infaq, sadaqah, and waqf. These mechanisms aim to prevent wealth hoarding, reduce inequality, and ensure that the vulnerable, poor, orphans, widows share in a societal prosperity. A growing body of contemporary research supports the efficacy of these instruments. A recent study in northern Nigeria found a significant positive relationship between zakah and waqf institutions and sustainable economic development, with zakah and waqf contributing directly to poverty reduction. Another cross-country empirical analysis showed that Islamic finance, when combined with social finance tools, correlates with lower poverty and inequality levels across African countries. Theoretical modeling also suggests that economics based on profit and loss sharing and periodic redistribution rather than interest-based lending tend to exhibit slower growth in wealth disparity. More recently, research on waqf modernization shows promise. Cash waqf models, for example, where liquid assets rather than real estate are endowed, can enhance enterprise income, support social welfare, and align with Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Thus, redistribution in Islamic economies is not a one-time charity, but a systematic and institutionalized process that embeds social solidarity into economic life. Conventional interest-based finance is often criticized within the Islamic paradigm for promoting guaranteed returns irrespective of risk. A structure that rewards capital without accountability. In contrast, Islamic finance encourages profits and loss sharing arrangements such as musharaka partnership, mudaraba trust financing, murabaha, cost-plus trade, and ijarat, leasing, and linking financial returns to real income and economic productivity. Recent performance analysis within Nigeria illustrate that Sharia-compliant instruments such as murabaha and sukuk significantly contribute to bank profitability as measured by return on equity, while demonstrating viability even in complex economic environments. Moreover, empirical research on small and medium enterprises in Nigeria found that access to Islamic banking credit significantly boosts employment growth, a key driver for social stability and development. From a theoretical perspective, modeling of wealth exchange under Islamic versus capitalism-based systems demonstrates that Islamic models with redistribution and profit loss sharing reduce index-based inequality over time compared to interest-based systems. Some problems here. Moreover, empirical research on small and medium enterprise in Nigeria found that access to Islamic banking credit significantly boosts employment growth, a key driver for social stability and development. From a theoretical perspective, modeling of wealth exchange under Islamic versus capitalism-based systems demonstrate that Islamic models with distribution and profit loss sharing reduce index-based inequality over time compared to interest-based systems. Thus, by aligning finance with real economy and risk, Islamic financial tools discourage speculative bubbles, debt traps, and exploitative lending, factors that often contribute to economic instability and social justice. Islamic economic order requires more than just financial tools. It demands moral governance, the classical concept of hizbah, public accountability, and social oversight, and the Sharia injunction of justice, that's adl and public welfare, placed responsibility on both private actors and public authorities. Empirical and theoretical studies on Islamic social public finance underline the importance of governance frameworks, transparency, and institutional capacity in making these mechanisms effective. For any large-scale implementation, whether zakat agencies, work draft bodies, or Islamic banks, governance, oversight, and social accountability must be embedded to avoid abuse, corruption, and concentration of power. So let us take some lessons from modern system, the need for balance, wasatiyah, that is moderation. Neither capitalism nor socialism in their pure forms fully address the intertwined needs of justice, enterprise, innovation, and moral responsibility. Islamic economics offers the middle path described in the Quran, chapter 2, verse 143, a balanced system that preserves individual initiative and private property while regulating excess, ensuring fairness, and safeguarding community welfare. Private property and wealth, accepted but framed as trust, not absolute entitlement. Profit and entrepreneurship, encouraged but with moral boundaries and social obligations. redistribution, and social welfare, institutionalized, not left to ad hoc charity or state handouts. Freedom and responsibility, balanced through accountability, social norms, and legal institutional guardrails. This balanced paradigm rejects extremes, neither unbridled free market exploitation nor heavy-handed state-level control, but a principled equilibrium. Implementing Islamic economic tools in African context has shown encouraging results, though challenges still remain. Let us look at Africa's Islamic finance growth and potential. In Nigeria, for example, the largest Islamic finance market in sub-Saharan Africa, the industry was estimated about 3.8 billion US dollars at the end of 2023. Sukuk issuance forms the largest share, means Islamic bonds, followed by Islamic banking assets and smaller portions of Intakaful, that Islamic insurance, and Islamic funds. Despite its relatively small share in the overall finance market, the growth trajectory is significant, especially given Nigeria's large unbanked population, majority Muslim composition, and demand for ethical banking alternatives. Similarly, in other African countries, Senegal, Kenya, South Africa, and Tanzania, Islamic microfinance, work-based initiatives, and sukuk are increasingly explored as tools for infrastructure financing, social welfare, and inclusion. So let us talk about some case studies. That's inclusion, social impact, and institutional challenges. A 2021 study on SMEs in Kano, in a city in northern Nigeria, found that access to Islamic banking credit significantly improved employment growth among beneficiary firms, reducing unemployment and supporting economic inclusion. Research on Islamic social finance, zakat, and waqf in northern Nigeria at the same time showed that these instruments, if properly institutionalized, can meaningfully contribute to poverty reduction and sustainable development. On the institutional side, recent work highlights that cash waqf, when managed transparently with proper governance and impact assessment, can boost enterprise income and contribute to social programs, though challenges related to regulation, public awareness, and standardization remain. However, obstacles must be addressed. These obstacles must be addressed. Number one, regulatory and legal frameworks for waqf, sukuk, and non-interest finance remain underdeveloped in many African jurisdictions. Limited public awareness, low penetration, and preference for conventional banking impede adoption. Institutional capacity gaps in governance, auditing, Sharia compliance provision pose risk to scalability and credibility. These challenges underscore the importance of deliberate policy, institutional reforms, and capacity building alongside financial innovation. Economic systems do not operate in a moral vacuum. In the paradigm of Islamic economics, the inner transformation of individuals is as important as institutional design. The Quran emphasizes that change begins from within. Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. This is a verse from the Quran, chapter 13, verse 11. When individuals cultivate virtues, I'm talking about honesty, contentment, compassion, social solidarity, then even Modest wealth can produce dignity, stability, and peace. This spiritual grounding anchors economic justice in personal ethics, community responsibility, and a sense of accountability before God, ensuring that systems serve people, not vice versa. Policy recommendations, a roadmap for African states. Based on the analysis and empirical evidence, I recommend the following policy and institutional measures for African governments, development planners, civil society, and Muslim communities. One, legal and regulatory reform. We should African governments must try to enact legislation to recognize Waqf, Sukuk, and Sharia-compliant contract forms, that's Musharaka, Mudaraba, and Ijara, and establish regulatory sandboxes to pilot Islamic financial instruments in infrastructure, social housing, and SMEs. Two, institutionalizing of Zakat and Waqf systems. Reinforce Zakat and Waqf agencies at national and local levels with transparency and accountability and impact measurement frameworks. Promote cash Waqf initiatives for public goods, financing, education, health, community development. Development of Islamic banking and finance infrastructure. Encourage non-interest banks and Islamic banking windows. Support risk-sharing finance and expand financial inclusion. Provide capacity building for Sharia governance, auditing, risk management, and product innovation. Social protection and poverty alleviation. Under it, we should integrate Islamic social finance instruments like Zakat and Sadaqah and Waqf into national social safety nets and poverty reduction programs. Target vulnerable groups like orphans, widows, unemployed youth through microfinance and benevolent lending, that's Qard Hassan and Waqf-based social services. Public awareness, education, and ethical training. Promote education in schools, universities, religious institutions about Islamic economics, finance, and ethics. Encourage interfaith and intercommunity dialogue on moral economy, social justice, and inclusive growth. Conduct research, data collection, and impact assessment. This means we should establish academic and policy research centers to study Islamic finance, work governance, social finance, impact, and poverty dynamics. Develop standardized metrics for assessing welfare, inequality, financial inclusion, and social cohesion beyond GDP. Governance, transparency, and accountability. We should try to implement public finance management systems oriented toward accountability, social welfare, and equitable distribution. Strengthen anti-corruption frameworks and ensure oversight of Waqf funds, Zakat collection, and Islamic financial institutions. So in conclusion, the Islamic economic paradigm offers more than a financial alternative. It provides a comprehensive moral institutional framework that integrates spiritual values, social justice, and economic viability. In a continent like Africa, where inequality, exclusion, and institutional fragility hinder sustainable growth, this paradigm holds significant promise. Adopting it does not require rejecting modernity, no. Rather, it calls for re-anchoring economic life in ethical purpose, ensuring that wealth creation serves human dignity, social cohesion, and long-term peace. If embraced thoughtfully with legal reforms, institutional capacity, public awareness, and moral commitment, the tools of Zakat and Waqf alone, and risk-sharing finance and ethical governance can help steer Africa can help Africa towards a future where prosperity is shared, opportunities are fair, and I'm talking about if embraced thoughtfully with legal reform, institutional capacity, public awareness, and moral commitment, the tools of zakat and waqf, risk-sharing finance, and ethical governance can help steer Africa towards a future where prosperity is shared, opportunities are fair, and peace flourishes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much indeed, Baba Yunus Muhammad, for this excellent presentation on balancing growth and justice, the Islamic economic paradigm for peace. And you've just said that the Islamic economic model is more than just an alternative to both capitalism and socialism. And you have talked about a number of very important issues and suggested policies saying that change begins from within. And that's, I think, a very strong point. But you've also talked about lots of issues that are confronting Africa, probably also elsewhere, but inequalities, poverty, social inequality, the paradox of development without peace. And you've mentioned also divine balance, having a moral vision. And so I would like now to ask members here for questions, comments, and we'll start with Collins. You are welcome, Collins, and then we go to Jim.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. It's quite illuminating and thought-provoking. But what struck me in that presentation is the nexus, the intersection between looking at the internal moral upbringing of the individual, having an influence in terms of the outer society. And if that is the case, and if that's the basis, that the individual have to change, then my question has to do with looking at the situation in Nigeria. You mentioned a lot about Nigeria, and I keep wondering, if you look at the moral decadency or the lack of accountability, from the leaders, which for me shows some kind of a moral deficiency. How would applying this Islamic concept in this society where the leaders are not upholding the basis, how is it going to work? Thank you.
Well, I think it's a difficult actually task, but I mean, we have to start from somewhere. That's why I emphasize the importance of regulatory frameworks. But even Nigeria, you can see that even the Islamic finance project in Nigeria, it was during Sanusi Lamido's time as governor of Central Bank that we were able to bring in the Islamic finance framework. So the Islamic finance framework actually, regulate the activities of human beings, participants. So the issue also is this. I think there should be even a moral crusade, to fight the fight against corruption. I think should be considered more important in whatever we want to do, because whatever we do in Africa, the other day, in fact, I was listening to something, a speech by the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, saying that Africa is not poor, but its people are poor. So our problem in Africa is not just even the issue of poverty. It's just about this corruption. You see that one person can just take what maybe 1 million people may use. So whatever we want to do as far as Islamic economic or Islamic finance project is concerned, we just have to emphasize on the legal and framework, at least to guide the operators and participants in the system. And also, it shouldn't go also without encouraging, people to abide by fairness, to shun corrupt practices and so forth, and the rest.
All right, thank you so much. Jim, you are welcome.
I don't know. Jim, okay. The question I see is around, okay, go ahead, please, Jim.
Unmute your microphone, Jim, please. Yes, Jim.
Try to turn up your volume, Jim. It's not very loud.
Jim, can you turn on your volume?
We know that when you have your video on, it's more difficult, but your microphone is very quiet. That's a little better, but still very faint. Give it a try.
Not yet enough. And as you fix that one, Jim, can we allow Donna to proceed while you fix that on your side? Okay. Donna, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I know what waqf and zakat are, but I have never heard of sukuk. So can you please tell us what sukuk is? And there were a couple of other terms that I had never heard before. I think I can flesh them out using a dictionary, but sukuk is, and I'm just looking it up in my Swahili dictionary because I don't have the Arabic one nearby. And please tell us what is sukuk. Or there may be other people here who don't know what zakat and waqf are. You might have to explain those.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Sukuk, the Islamic equivalent of bonds. Bonds, yeah. In the conventional finance, we have what we call commercial bonds, government bonds, which are always floated to conduct, to undertake or to finance infrastructure projects or for social causes. But the sukuk is the Islamic alternative to the conventional bonds. The conventional bonds are based on interest-based, based on interest. But the sukuk is not based on interest. It's always projected according to profit and loss, just the way Islamic finance operates. That's what sukuk means. And in Africa, for example, countries like Nigeria, they have been using the sukuk to finance infrastructure projects, for example, highways, buildings, and so forth. Even now, my organization, we are even championing, we are trying to launch a sukuk even in Nigeria to finance about, oh my God, my content down, to finance health projects, in Nigeria. So that's what sukuk is. And zakat is a tax. A tax that is always levied on the rich.
All right. I hope that the speaker will proceed after fixing that issue with his computer. Is that okay, Donna, or you still have another question?
Oh, that was good.
Okay, great. Jim, have you sorted out that issue with your microphone? You still sound to be so far away, we can barely hear you. It's still very, very hard to hear what you are saying. Sorry about that. And Khadija, are you able to, yeah, please speak to us.
And Jim, you could put that in the chat, perhaps.
Hello, thank you for having this discussion, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the last speaker. I just wanted to highlight on a few things that he mentioned. Financial inclusion, elites being the rich people back in Africa, and the exclusions for fair and fair opportunities. I just wanted to add my own idea to that. I think in terms of financial inclusion, the most people in Africa that are excluded when it comes to business or opportunities, fair opportunities, are women. So when you talk about that topic, just have women in mind. Once you have that balance, things will get better. Things can improve. And when it comes to the elites being the people with the money, I think it's only true, mostly, majority of the time, it's true politics. And that's not money or wealth that's being earned. So the lack of women in any culture or religion, participation can cause poverty. That is something that's, once women are not in leadership, they're not in politics, they're not in boardrooms, in businesses, this is going to continue. So inclusion of women in all this, in all the parts that helps to make any nation or fairness of opportunities is the best. Just look at what is happening to women in that society. It can be resolved in that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khadija, for your input. We appreciate that. And Baba, are you there? I hope he will be joining us soon. Let's turn to Richard. You're welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much. And good afternoon from Ghana. What I know is when governments want to cite financial institutions, it is cited or it is done to benefit religious, non-religious, everybody. So Islamic banking, does it mean a bank solely for Islamic, what is it, religious people, or the cultural practices, their cultural practices that he wants them to be implemented. I believe Islamic practices are more often a bit stern to put people alert. That is one. And then with the issue of women inclusion, I think this is being generated. Even on our platform, we had many women that were registered. And along the line, they start dropping one after the other. All they are with us, but they hardly join the webinars without anyone, putting them off. So how do we include women? How do we make them more active in issues of leadership, issues of any decision making body. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richard, for your input. And I think the question, well, let's see whether...
I'm back.
Baba, yes, you are back.
Yeah, sorry for the...
yeah, thank you so much for being with us again.
Handset, so that's, so I may be a little bit handicapped. Well,
right.
When we... Islamic banking, to answer, this is an important thing I just need to clarify. Islamic banking is just a subset of the wider Islamic economic system. Just like the conventional economic system, banking is a subset of it. So an Islamic finance doesn't mean that it's only Muslims who are going to be participants or who are going to be who are going to be beneficiaries. The Islamic finance is open to all. If you look at it very well, in fact, it's even doing well in Western societies, like Western countries like England and other, Brussels and other. In fact, they are doing better than even a lot of Muslim countries. It's just in recent times that Muslim countries have been implementing Islamic finance, transactions. So it's Islamic finance. To clarify this, is for everybody. It's a system. Just as we have capitalism, we have socialism, and the rest. Islamic finance also is there. Only that is divinely inspired. It, it generates its regulations and practices from the teachings of the Holy Quran. That's the difference.
Okay.
But if you go to London, America, in fact, it's doing very well in the Islam, even Western countries, than even the Muslim countries.
All right. There was a question.
Thank you.
From Khadija. Actually, she said that women are being more excluded. And she's saying, actually, with lack of women's participation, say in politics and cultural activities, that actually leads to poverty. And maybe you have a comment on that. Plus, actually, a question that came from Richard, that how can we make women involved in politics, in social events, or forums such as this one, actually, like this webinar? And I think that's an interesting question from Richard.
But I think to this, I will have even invited more comments from other persons so that I can also learn from people, because we are in the process of implementing most of these things in many African countries. So we would like to see, how do we make women to be involved? Always, from my experience, we do experience apathy when it comes to implementation, especially also, for example, in countries like northern Nigeria, women are not allowed to participate in certain things. Maybe we have what we call culture called Kule or something like that. But then, I think we can also always try to establish solely women, organizations, so that women can be very comfortable to join such, associations to economic activities. But in other places, I think women are doing very well if given the opportunity. So I think we just have to consciously devise a strategy to integrate women into whatever we do. In fact, if we are going to have 500 men, we should ensure that we have 500 women as well, so that we can give them equal opportunities, to demonstrate their skills. But then I will welcome more contribution about this particular issue of inclusiveness, how the strategies we can implement or we can adopt to ensure that women are not just mere onlookers, but they are active participants in most of these things that we are talking about.
Thank you so much, Baba. And maybe there is a comment from the participants here, how to make women participate more. Hafiz, you're welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you. Nice presentation and good discussion so far. I just want to add value to what Khadija said about the women participation in the economic affairs and the social affairs as well as political affairs. It's not as if Islam is against women participation in all this perspective or all these aspects of life. But out of the recommendation that the Prophet made, that is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was trying to point to Aisha, that is one of his wives, that kusu nisifa dinikum, that you should take half of your religion from this woman, a tiny woman. So it's showing that it's showing that this Islamic aspect is actually giving values to women in society. And also, we do not have a surah that's actually named in the name of man, but we have a chapter that was named in the name of women. It shows that their contribution to society growth and development is very, very key. And another additional thing that I can say that the Prophet invited, because Prophet used to be seeking advice from the women, like one of his wives as well, Salima, they were on a journey that they want to gain entrance back to Mecca. I don't want to give a long story about that. I just want to keep it short so that we can get the major point of view that I want to add to it. So it was Salima, that is one of the Prophet's wife, was the one that advised the Prophet that this is what to do. If you want these people to follow your lead, you have to do it like this, do it like this. Then he advised the Prophet, and Prophet go in that way. So there are many, many sessions in the Quran that lay emphasis that what the Surah Al-Ahzab, that's what the men, God commanded men to do. He also commanded women to do the same thing. He asks us to be fasting. There is no women exempted. He asks us to follow the rules and regulations. Women are not exempted. So this Islamic consider both sides. That is not as if women are being relegated in Islamic point of view. So I just want to add that to it. So Khadija can take it over. Not that women are marginalized in Islamic induction or Islamic Sharia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hafiz. And let's turn to Richard, and then Baba can respond to those.
Activities of women, as the earlier madam said about women. But in my school days, women who were brilliant, most first position, second, third position. And then these days, my church, women's societies involving women, you see them flourishing than that of the men. But I see women in sectors more than even actively engaged more than even the men. But they lack the meaning of leadership. Maybe they see leadership as a flourishing area that when they are put, for example, when they are made managers, they should be they should feel as queens and which is not like that. For you to be given a seat, meaning there is a responsibility. At times, so you need to go low as a watchman or as a cleaner. You see, but when you see them in a position. But when it comes down to serve, they feel they are under those they serve. You see, this is the problem. Other than that, we have a lot of women in higher seats that need to be at times to be mentioned. Women are not marginalized. Truthfully, they are not sidelined, please. So thank you.
Baba, would you like to respond to the comment from Richard?
Well, I think I support Richard's position. Women are not marginalized by, you know, just maybe a culture of neglect. Maybe let us put it that way. Maybe when we are doing things, we don't consider them to be part of it. But then I don't think we have systematic, what do you call it, marginalization of women consciously, you know, as a policy. I don't think we have that one. But maybe in the past, we used to feel that, okay, a woman belongs to the kitchen, a woman belongs to the home. That was the past. But I think Islam, as our brother has said, has through centuries encouraged women participation in politics, in military affairs, and economic affairs. So Islamic finance does encourage women participation in daily economic activities. It can be done from the home. It can be, in fact, women, there's nothing a woman cannot do as far as Islam is concerned. So I just feel that we should, right now, maybe henceforth, we should, whatever policy or whatever project or program we are trying to launch, or we should try to make a conscious effort to include women, you know, carry women along. Let me put it this way. So by so doing, gradually, I think we can, you know, bridge that gap. Because right now, if you go to our universities, many African countries that I do know, you see a lot of sizable women population among the, you know, among the student population, which is a far cry from what we saw in the 70s. You could count a number of women in the classroom, but today it's not like that. So I think women are catching up.
Thank you so much, Donna, and then Khadija.
I'm going to speak New York Street right now, okay? It's my own language. Cut the crap. All you guys grinning with your teeth showing. Just stop it. We don't want to hear that anymore. Where in the Quran does it tell women that we can beat our husbands? It doesn't. It tells husbands that they can beat our wives and exhorts them to beat the wives every now and then. You can't tell me that women have equal, stop that, Richard. Close your mouth. Yes. You can't tell me or any other female human that women are getting a good deal in Islam or any other religion. I'm singling out Islam now. When you have written documents handed down by God to the angel Gabriel, who then transmitted this information to the Prophet Muhammad, and it can never be changed or altered or corrected. And you're sitting here, you guy with the kofia on your head, I forgot your name already. You're trying to tell us that women have equality with men in Islam? Cut it out. We don't want to hear that anymore. You know it's not true. We know it's not true. It's enacted as a non-truth. The non-truth side of it is enacted every day in the behavior of millions of people. Stop that nonsense. Excuse me. George, I'll keep quiet. Thanks, Richard. It was appropriate. You can do it again.
Thanks. Donna, I've heard.
You, Africa Islamic Economic Forum, stop it. Just stop it.
Let's hear from Khadija, and then the speaker will respond to your comment, Donna.
The other one is glowing also.
All right. Khadija,
Thank you again. I just wanted, well, I think my brother did answer my concern because I did not reference religion. I'm Muslim, I'm born and raised Muslim. And I am aware, and Baba actually acknowledged that they can bring women along because that's the reality. Yes, and it's also improvement in university campuses of many women being there today. But if we have to talk about religion, which is I'm part of, we should never forget that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his wife was a businesswoman. She was running business. So we should not be even referring to religion or Islamic religion as, women should be this, should be that. Because the woman, the Prophet's wife already demonstrated that. So it should not be even an argument about that.
What about Aisha, who was 6 years old when she was married?
Yeah, that's
marrying children whose skeletons have not developed to full size yet, and it says that in Quran that you can do that. As long as you don't marry 11 women in your lifetime. 11? Can I have 11 husbands? May I please?
And that story is very contradictory, even though we're not here to discuss religion, especially the historical perspective, because the fact is the Prophet married a woman who was even older than him.
20 years
was a
older.
businesswoman. She held her own, and they lived a peaceful life until she passed away. So that alone is the example that we all should understand.
We should ignore Aisha. Forget the 6-year-old.
No.
Yeah,
we don't
we'll come back to you. Sorry, Donna, we'll come back to you.
That's something not to forget, because
Khadija, please complete your thoughts.
Yeah, that's a big concern today, that people think it's okay, and it's causing a lot of rape, it's causing a lot of child marriage. These are a whole lot of topics that it will be a whole lot of advocacy that's out there that I'm aware of, and I'm not putting that aside. I am focused, matter of fact, I'm laser focused. I'm just trying to focus on what this topic is about the inclusion of women, particularly. And it's the reality. It is true. And Baba attested to that. So the most important thing is to find solutions to that. Because when there's a war or any problem, like let's say, for instance, in Sudan and wherever these problems are happening in Africa, who are suffering the most? Who are carrying the children on their back? The women. If they are empowered, they're included, first of all these things will be avoided, and they will be empowered to take care of their family. But they are the ones we see in the videos. The women are the ones suffering and taking advantage of all this unrest time. So when you talk about peace, think about women, inclusion, period.
All right. Thank you so much, Khadija and Donna. Let's turn to Peter and then Khadija too. Peter, please.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to just mention that to Baba, that I lived on the campus at Ahmadu Bello. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. I lived at Ahmadu Bello University in 1963 and 4. My father was a professor of electrical engineering, and they held a contest to elect the queen of engineering. There was only one female student. Her name was Grace Etakoka, and we knew her well. She used to come over to the house in tears, and it was largely because at the Ahmadu Bello University, she had the status of a highly educated person. She was brilliant. And when she went home, she was ordered to fan her brothers, especially her older brothers, in the heat and clean up and cook for them and so forth. And there was no recognition of her accomplishments and her incredibly promising future. It was a very psychologically tearing experience for her. And I just wanted to say, the fact that you had been there brought back so many memories to me. There's a lake just south of the university, a very large body of water that was not there at all. But I used to walk around in the bush there. I just remember the mountain Kafena in the distance. So I was just so happy to know that somebody had been there and was presenting. I went to a school in Musasa called St. Paul's College. Wanted to go to the Gaskia college, which was Islamic, because they had flowing robes, and we had these little sort of military uniforms, like British public school. Anyway, I'll get off. I'm just having a delightful time. And I think that it's wonderful that the major issues of most importance have come right to the top.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Peter. Khadijatu? Please unmute your microphone. We can barely hear you. Your sound system isn't working, I'm afraid. Sorry, we can't hear you, but this has been really, try and check again on your sound, your microphone. So in the meantime, let's turn to Richard again.
I'm trying to say this. Eva, women have the most opportunity available than men. I'm saying this because they have been naturally, made so. But I think understanding realities is what is lacking. Most of the times, when a woman is given a position, she may think maybe for other reasons, other ill reasons. I think women need to understand themselves well. And then men too, we need to understand ourselves properly. For instance, if a man admires a woman and calls her, initially it becomes aggression. Meanwhile, the man rather adored her first. So the issue of in fact, we need to educate ourselves properly, what men go through and what women go through. And then when we blend this together, I think we will understand ourselves perfectly. Women at times feel shy when in front of even men. So how would they accept position that governs men? You see it. So this is a problem. I see it a problem. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe, Baba, you'd like to respond to those comments? Baba Yunus Muhammad, are you there? I don't seem to see Baba.
He seems to have dropped off just then. He may be having connection problems.
Probably, yes. Khadijatu, can you try again? I don't know what has happened today because last time you were audible enough. Have you changed your machine? Yeah, so, yeah. Sorry about that, but we had some interesting conversations. Is that okay now, Khadijatu? No, not yet. Sorry, not yet. We can't hear you.
Khadijatu, can you put your question in the chat?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's right. That's a good idea.
Oh, Khadija put in the chat, I did not mention religion when I asked for the inclusion of women.
That was Khadija. We have two, Khadija and Khadijatu.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. So Richard had a question. I think this is, for all of us, that how can we have more women on this session? So we're so grateful for those who are around, definitely, and definitely women's participation is very important, and would like to have more participate. And so if you have a way of making it happen, please share that with us. We'd be more than happy to have them join us. We try to be as inclusive as possible. Not
I'm
necessarily
not sure.
based.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if everyone has access to the chat system, but some folks would like to connect with others. Perhaps if they can write to you, Dr. Mutalemwa, you would be able to introduce them. It would be best to give Dr. Mutalemwa permission for him to share your email with anyone who requests. And that way we can make these connections in an ethical way. Baba is back.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Baba, I don't know whether you remember before you left, we're talking about women's participation. And there was a question actually from Donna about women, especially in Islam. She said that in all religions, but now focusing on Islam, how women are included. And let's say, for example, in terms of leadership, what kind of leadership roles do they play? Baba, and maybe as you think about that, you may recall that in Tanzania, there is a female president, and you recently also wrote an article about her. And I don't know whether you have some thoughts of her, not just as a president, but also as a woman, whether that has a contribution to how the government is working.
I don't know. Okay, you mentioned my article about your president. But well, I had wanted to say that this paper was, Donna said a lot of things, but I believe the paper, it was not within the context of that paper. The paper is all just about economics. We don't like going into these religious dogmas, it could be Christianity, it could be Islam, but normally when I speak about Islamic economics. And Islamic economics or Islamic finance as it's about money, it's about economic activities. It is meant for both Christians, Muslims, people who have no religion. I think it's all about that. And also the Islam finance also emphasizes economic justice, fair play, and the rest. Now, throughout history, we have seen that a lot of women have played useful roles in leadership positions, though Islam, like all other religions, do also experience its own distortions a long time. We have situations whereby cultural practices are mixed with religion. So if people are even condemning or are running away from Islam as we see today, they are not running from the real Islam, they are running from cultural influences. But the religion, as it was brought by the Prophet Muhammad SAW, wasn't like this. But over time, as the religion spread to other places, we have all this mixture of cultures. So that is it. So the cultural practices have made Islam, to be seen as a religion which is against the leadership or progressive, position of women in society. Islam has never opposed that. We saw the Prophet women, wives, they participated in all his struggles. For example, the Hadija was was a businesswoman, Nana Aisha, and the rest, they all participated in many activities. And even now, even if we look at places like Iran, so people may say, well, women are being oppressed in that society. But I think you see women also in their hijab, they do a lot of things. And as I did mention also here in the 70s, I was in this university, Ahmed Bello University here. In the 70s, you could count the number of women, as our brother has said, you could count the number of women in this. But now today, this typical Muslim society, but today you see a lot of Muslim women in classes doing a number of things, being engineers, quantity surveyors. My wife is a quantity surveyor. My daughter is a quantity surveyor. Some of them are in the medical practitioner, professions. So Islam doesn't prevent us from doing all this, unless maybe our cultures prevent us, deny us those opportunities. So I think the benefit of this type of gathering is to ensure that we reform some of our activities. Maybe what we are trying to do is, we are trying to say that, well, look, Islam doesn't say that women should not go to study. Islam didn't say people should not go, women should not involve themselves in economic practices. Islam encourages us to do all these things. So whatever we are trying to do, we should map out a story. We shouldn't forget about the women. We should try to bring them in the middle of everything that we do. So by so doing, over time, maybe not in our lifetime, but at time, we may have a situation whereby women may compete. But coming back to our sister in Tanzania, two people who was very happy when she became a leader. I remember I had an argument with a lady, a sister. Then I said, no, but interestingly, the president is even a third wife. I said, so you can see that she happens to be a third wife in her family, but the husband allowed her to play politics up to the level of being a president. But why I became disappointed also when the elections approached, I was thinking that we will have a free and fair, environment, because this type of strangulating opposition is can be said to be characteristic of men. We can be very brutal when it comes to handling this. So I was thinking that, okay, as a woman, she could have been a model for most of us to see. That's why personally I felt very aggrieved when I saw that the opposition members were being muzzled. They were not allowed to participate freely in the elections. But then also, having worked also in government before, I do know that presidents are not are never alone in most of these things. People caliber, what do you call it? Or what do you call these people? A certain group
Cabinet?
of people. No, not cabinet. There's a cabal who are always around the president. They dictate. They say, "Oh, look, Mr. President, you are here not on account of your intelligence or beauty or whatever is this. People brought you here. So if you play and the opposition are sent to the power, all of us will not be here. So we won't allow that to happen." So sometimes they take decisions on behalf of the president. They compel the president to take it. So that's another problem. So if a woman is in power and we see her doing certain things that are not, compatible with her status as a woman, maybe we may investigate deeper to know the cause of that actions. So that's my position.
Thank you very much indeed. And Donna, you have raised your hand, please.
Yes, thank you for that. That was very enlightening because it tells us that you're not really a Muslim. I just want to remind everybody that Quran existed from the beginning of time in its perfect present state. And if you're a Muslim, you believe that. So this nonsense about giving women opportunity and stuff, that is anti-Islamic. It's not part, if that's your religion, it's not part of your religion. It's you talking off the top of your head. So please pay attention. If it's your religion, please pay attention to what it says. In Quran, it tells you to beat your wife. Beat your wife to keep her in line. We don't want to hear that anymore. And we don't care how you couch it. Do not connect it to culture, because it's connected in the minds of millions, if not billions, of Muslims with God. And they claim that God generated the Quran at the beginning of time, and it's perfect, and we have to follow it. So cut the crap. Again, I'm speaking New York. Sorry about the Kajaku. I see you laughing at me. That's somebody else.
Unfortunately, I'm not an Islamic scholar. So my paper is just outside the context.
Why are you wearing kofia?
I'm not an Islamic scholar. My paper is just outside the context of what we are discussing. So maybe we may have to find a scholar, because we have...
I am a scholar.
No, I'm not an Islamic scholar. I'm just an Islamic economist.
I think, Baba, there is a conference
for my master's degree. What are you talking about? Is it because I'm female that you think I can't be a scholar? Cut it out, man.
Sorry, Don. I think you've made your point, and we are going to try and invite an Islamic scholar to discuss,
as long as it's not a male.
Islam, and I think that's going to could be male or female, and or both, and then we will see how to get more enlightened.
That will be better. But I mean, this paper doesn't discuss women. We didn't even mention women equality or inequality. We just talked about inclusiveness. And when if you have lived in Africa or you live in Africa, you know that when we are talking of inclusivity, we are not talking about only women. In fact, a lot of men even outside the economic system or framework. So when we are talking of inclusivity, in fact, we are talking about both male and
apologetics. Look it up. If you don't know what apologetics is because you're not a scholar, look up APOLOGETICS. It's a branch of philosophy, and it's making up justification for things that are repugnant. That's what apologetics are about. Let me not speak anymore. It's too much.
All right, thank you so much. Well, of course, we respect each one's opinion, and we would like to make sure that we also speak to each other in a very respectful way. And so I would like now, as we almost come to the end, to ask, Baba, are you there?
I'm
Baba
there,
Muhammad?
I'm here.
Yes, so thank you so much again for this excellent presentation. And I would like to ask you for, some final remarks, closing remarks for today, and then we will, meet again next week to discuss a different topic. But for now, I'd like to ask you to kind of give us something to remember as we close.
Well, I think we have said it all, but so I must thank your center for this beautiful initiative. And I believe also that such discussions always give us opportunity to share ideas, to compare notes, to especially also bring about more innovative, strategies with which we can transform our societies. So my vocation is just to promote Islamic economics. And I believe my work is to encourage African governments, private sector, activists, because I know that it offers
Oh, we have lost your sound, Baba. What has happened?
Oh, you are not hearing me?
No, and now we hear.
Oh. So I have to start all afresh.
No, not necessarily. Just to complete your thought.
Yeah. So thank you very much indeed for this wonderful opportunity. And my doors are always open to further invitations, and always we can come around to pick as we progress. For example, it won't be a bad idea we share some of our experience. For example, the Sukuk initiative that we are trying to implement in Nigeria. We are trying to see how we can use Sukuk, the bonds, to establish centers, to improve on the health, infrastructure, to improve upon health infrastructure in Nigeria. So we can be sharing this type of experiences as time goes on.
Yeah, we are lost. You are lost again. We can't hear your voice, but I think your point was made. We thank you so much indeed, Baba, for your time, for being with us again. When somebody comes back, that's a very good sign that you like what we do. And so we look forward to interacting with you further. And please do invite others to join us next time when we meet on Wednesday. So for now, bye-bye for today. See you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.